Hello everyone. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Nova. I'm from TBI3C. Today I will explain about material morphology. Okay, the first material is about definition word as a meaningful building blocks of a language. So, definition is means that can be merged into the sentence and as a building blocks. Just one word that commands such go or sit. For example is when you search such a fire. That example means sometimes one word can describe a sentence. It means a word can be classified in various ways. Definition word as a token. So, um, counting every instance in which a word occurs in a sentence regardless of whether that word has occurred before or not. For example is Mary goes to Edinburgh next week and she intends going to Washington next month. Nah, the same word in that sentence is to and next are distinct tokens of a single type. Okay guys, we are moved to other material is word with predictable meanings, and the second is non-words with unpredictable meanings, and the third is words versus lexical items. So the first definition is word with predictable meanings. um, Predictable words happen in a way or at a time that you know before they happen. So we are moved to the next definition, non-word with unpredictable meanings. Here, a word whose meaning is difficult to guess is a word that requires a dictionary search to find out is the meaning. So, for example, dark house. This means dark house is competitors whose strength is not known how big and how weak their strength is. Definitions about words versus lexical items is a single word, a part of a word, or a chain of words that forms the basic elements of each language lexicon or vocabulary. For example is arcade, traffic light, take care of, by the way, and it's raining cats and dogs. And lexical items can be generally understood to convey a single meaning, much a lexicon, but are not limited to single words. So the first material is definition taking words apart. The meanings of some words can be found within the word itself. Take the words apart to see whether you know the meanings of prefix, suffix, or base words. So let's move to second material is kind of morpheme. Free morpheme or bond morphemes. So definition of free morphemes can stand alone in a sentence. There are two types of free morphemes, content morphemes and functional morphemes. And for example is talk, hunt, opened, egg, and dogs. And definition about bond morphem is can stand alone and must be attached to another morphemes. We often call this morphem is a fix. For example is as in a place and an in anable. The third material is kind of morphemes have a root, affix, and combining form. Definition root is a morpheme that is basic part of a word and can occur by itself in many languages. For example is man, hold, and book. The definition is affix, and affix is a bond morphemes, meaning is it cannot stand alone as a word but attached to base word to create a new word or change its grammatical function. For example is misinformation, mis and prefix, and inform as a root word and actions as a suffix. combining from a word or set of letters that is at the beginning or end of a word to change or add meanings. Fourth material is about words. Words and their parts have a roots, affix, and their shapes. Definition of morphemes and their allomorphs. Definition of morphemes is the smallest unit of language in terms of the relationship between expressions and content. A unit can be divided into further smallest units without destroying or distinctly altering the meaning, whether it's lexical or grammatical. One definition is allomorph is the unit of meaning that varies in sound without changing the meanings. Identifying morphemes independently of meaning. Its free morphemes can carry semantic meaning on its own and does not require a prefix or suffix to give it meaning. In other words, it can stand on its own as words. For example, is the boy runs and laughs. Each of these morphemes can function independently. Ways of classifying words parts. English has four major words classes. The first, noun, verbs, adjective, and adverbs. Noun is word that refers to people, place, thing, or ideas. And verb is word that indicates an action such as drive, think, or exist. And adjective is word that describe nouns. And adverb is word that provide more information about a verb, adjective, and another adverb. So the fifth material is words and their forms is inflection. Let's talk about definition lexemes. Lexeme is a basic lexical unit of language consisting of one word or several words considered as an abstract unit and applied to a family of words related by form or meaning. And let's talk about definition word forms. Word form is sometimes you can look at a word and guess its part of speech and sequence of sounds or letters forms from one lexeme. Definitions. Grammatical word is a word that indicates grammatical relationships as opposite to a lexical word, which is a word with a primary referential functions. Example of grammatical words include articles, pronouns, and conjunctions. Next, definition regular inflections. The way change a word's forms to reflect things like tense, plurality, genders, and comparative and possessive. But irregular inflection. Irregular inflection is a change in the spelling or pronunciations of a word to indicate its grammatical meaning. For example, is find becomes found and mouse becomes to mice. Forms of nouns. Most countable nouns in English have two word forms, singular and plural. So the singular and plural is distinctions is the only grammatical distinction that is expressed morphology in English. So guys, we are in the last material is words and their forms, inflections, forms of pronouns and determiners, forms of verbs, and forms of adjective. Let's talk about definitions of pronouns. Forms of pronouns a word that replace a noun and we instead of naming the actual object. For example is some and this. Definitions of determiners. Determiners is a word that goes before a noun and identifies it in more detail. For example is some apples, his car, her dog, and this book. Forms of verbs is a way in which a verb is shaped or modified in order to suit the context. that speaks about an action that is performed at a specific time. In the last material is about forms of adjective. So definitions about forms of adjective is an adjective is a word that describes or quantifies or identifies a noun or pronouns. And adjectives are divided into two parts. The first is attributives, is comes before the noun is described, and the second is predicative, comes after linking verbs describe the subject of the sentence. Hey guys, I think that's all from me. I hope you understand and thank you very much. So bye bye.